Get ready. The moment has arrived. You're on the brink of experiencing one of the most defining moments of your existence. If you're not prepared, this pivotal opportunity might slip through your fingers. Regardless of your past decisions, this moment was destined to find you. Certain events are woven into the fabric of your being. It doesn't matter how far you've wandered, how many times you've fallen, or how many incorrect paths you've chosen. There are destined moments in your journey that you're meant to experience. This Thursday marks one such moment. It's an unchangeable point on your life's timeline, a convergence where every deviation, every disappointment, every unexpected path leads you back to this precise point. This isn't mere chance. This is your spiritual destiny unfolding. And when it arrives, the next chapter begins, whether you're ready or not. You chose this moment before your earthly existence began. Before drawing your first breath, you designated this date. While your conscious mind may not recall, your soul holds this memory. Those chosen set spiritual markers before entering this physical realm. These moments are designed to awaken their consciousness and guide them to their next evolutionary phase. Tomorrow holds one such marker. It's not arbitrary. It's not destiny making choices for you. It's the timer you personally set within your journey. That's why the atmosphere has felt different lately. Why many have been unsettled, experiencing unusual waves of energy, moments of insight, or an inexplicable tugging in their soul. Because this transcends being just another date. It's a milestone in the mission you selected. And when it activates, the events that unfold will require you to make a stand. You're no longer excessive. You're precisely what's needed. For so long, you felt your energy was overwhelming for others, as if your authentic voice, your powerful presence was something they needed to escape from. But Thursday transforms this narrative. What once drove people away will now draw the right individuals closer. This marks the transformation where your radiance ceases to intimidate and begins to inspire. You haven't changed fundamentally. Rather, your energy now aligns with the recognition you've been seeking. You're no longer pursuing. You're naturally attracting what was always meant to find you. You might find yourself engaging effortlessly with unexpected connections or receiving spontaneous opportunities. This marks the dawn of genuine connection, of seeing your authentic self reflected in others' eyes. And it all begins on what seems like an ordinary Thursday until it reveals itself as extraordinary. Those perceived setbacks, they were actually accelerated paths in disguise. How often have you reflected on your journey thinking, I should have achieved more by now? Thursday begins to dissolve that self-doubt. Not through forced rationalization of destiny, but through a moment of crystal clear understanding, where every twist and turn reveals itself as an essential step toward your current position. Those relationships that dissolve, those opportunities that vanished, those doors that seemed permanently sealed, they weren't obstacles in your path. They were divine redirections, carefully guiding you toward the singular route strong enough to support the weight of your life's purpose. You weren't experiencing delays. You were being strategically positioned. This realization settles into your being with natural ease, requiring no self-convincing. And within this acceptance emerges something more profound. The liberation to progress without the burden of past regrets or self-questioning. The universe has maintained a perfect record of your silent acts of grace. There's an inherent strength in the goodness you've displayed when no one was watching. Those instances where you could have exposed someone's vulnerability, but chose to preserve their honor. The times you extended help knowing reciprocation was impossible. Those private moments of principled action where you were the sole witness. Many believe such actions dissipate into the ether of daily existence. They don't. Each act has been preserved, not as part of some cosmic scorecard, but as an energetic investment surrounding you like spiritual collateral. And here's the truth about such investments. They never vanish. They simply await the perfect moment for their return. This Thursday initiates a subtle yet profound shift. Don't expect dramatic displays or instant windfalls. Instead, watch for the nuanced yet transformative changes. The perfect person materializes at the precise moment. An unexpected gateway presents itself. Success appears where rejection once dominated. Those acts of kindness weren't lost to time. They've been orbiting, waiting to reconnect with their source. The beauty lies in the inherent understanding of this return. Deep within, you'll recognize why this moment has chosen now to manifest. It's the culmination of every instance you chose light over darkness, even when darkness offered an easier path. Thursday amplifies an intuition you've carried throughout your existence, but never fully embraced. That imperceptible shift in energy that precedes reality's transformation. It begins delicately. The world feels altered, not in volume or brightness, but in an indescribable way. A weightiness in the atmosphere. An internal pulling sensation. The subtle awareness that somewhere beyond sight, cosmic gears have begun their motion. Previously, you might have dismissed these sensations as imagination. But now, this awareness persists. It accompanies you through each moment, as if tomorrow's possibilities are walking in step with you. This isn't speculation or wishful thinking. It's a knowing that runs deeper than conscious thought. You'll discover your senses becoming attuned to subtleties typically overlooked. A distant door's closure 3 rooms away triggers an inexplicable tension in your muscles. The wind's unexpected change carries either a cautionary whisper or a welcoming gesture. Discussions surrounding you seem to converge toward an unspoken truth. Each signal appears insignificant in isolation, but collectively they weave a narrative your consciousness hasn't yet fully grasped. And then it manifests. The unnamed phenomenon, the inexplicable transformation, emerges into clear view. It might be welcome news, an unexpected encounter, an unanticipated message, or perhaps a moment demanding swift action, requiring you to trust your instincts completely. The remarkable aspect isn't its occurrence, but your prior knowledge of its inevitability. Thursday marks a pivotal shift in your relationship with this awareness. You cease dismissing it as mere coincidence and begin flowing with its rhythm. You'll recognize how your body instinctively tenses before certain events unfold, how serenity washes over you when alignment approaches. Your energy field is synchronizing with unrealized possibilities, detecting ripples before their source disturbs the surface. As you surrender to this awareness's guidance, its clarity intensifies. Eventually, you'll stop perceiving it as a mere signal. It becomes integrated into your being. Like your heartbeat, constant, invisible, yet always preceding your present moment. While Thursday isn't your first encounter with this sensation, it marks the first time you'll consciously acknowledge it. Once you align with this silent knowing, the notion of uncertainty becomes foreign. This Thursday, your authentic frequency emerges dominant. It's been ever present. That deep, unwavering resonance underlying your existence. Not an audible sound, but a felt vibration. It's your original imprint, untainted by fear or worldly discord. You've experienced glimpses before. Those rare moments of inexplicable clarity where your words carried greater weight and your actions seemed to bend reality. Yet throughout most of your journey, this signal remained subdued. Survival demanded adaptation. You modified your essence to accommodate those who couldn't comprehend you. You diminished yourself to fit within spaces too confined for your complete presence. You artificially amplified aspects of yourself that felt unnatural, seeking acceptance. Each adjustment introduced interference. Eventually, the static became normalized, obscuring your true frequency. This Thursday, the interference dissipates. Without warning or preamble, you experience an unmistakable return to your original resonance, the note you've carried since inception. You'll sense it before words can capture it. It manifests in the sudden impossibility of maintaining pretense. In certain environments, you'll notice a growing sense of constriction, as if the space itself is contracting around you. This is your authentic frequency reasserting itself, reclaiming territory it had previously surrendered. When this reclamation occurs, it brooks no compromise. Elements that don't align with your true resonance begin to feel like physical burdens, becoming increasingly difficult to maintain or endure. This isn't about rejection. It's about fundamental incompatibility. Your internal system simply ceases to process inputs that don't match your genuine frequency. Situations you previously weathered now feel claustrophobic. Conversations you once engaged in now leave you with an acute awareness of squandering something invaluable. Initially, this might feel like deprivation, as those segments of your life are dissolving faster than you can find replacements. However, what's actually occurring is purification. This frequency systematically eliminates anything that's been diluting its purity, distilling you into a version that's exact, potent, and undeniably authentic. As you embrace this process, the world around you begins to transform in response. You might experience encounters with certain individuals, locations, or possibilities that carry an inexplicable sense of déjà vu, as if they're memories from a forgotten dream or a distant past. This occurs because you finally aligned yourself with their wavelength, one they've been consistently broadcasting. This isn't coincidence, but pure resonance. Neither party is pursuing the other. Rather, you're now occupying the same energetic space, making your convergence inevitable. When your core frequency fully manifests, existence ceases to feel fragmented and instead becomes a fluid, continuous flow. Your decisions, expressions, and destinations all harmonize with this fundamental note. Moving forward, you'll instantly recognize the distinction between what genuinely belongs to you and what's merely external noise attempting to mimic your signature frequency. This marks the moment your existence transcends anonymity and begins emanating a sound the world cannot disregard. The version of yourself that greets tomorrow won't be the same one that retires tonight. There's an aspect of you that has consistently taken precedence before your authenticity, before your presence, before your requirements. It's the version you've learned to embody, perhaps not by choice but for survival. The one skilled at maintaining peace, the one capable of holding everything together, the one that acquiesces when it disagrees, forces laughter when unused, shoulders burdens that never belong to it. While you've evolved beyond this version, you've continued to let it lead through habit, through fear, through the quiet conviction that it remained necessary. But Thursday brings change, not through conscious decision, but through your inner self's quiet withdrawal from this performance. You might find yourself mid-sentence when your voice suddenly feels foreign, like an instrument you've forgotten how to play. You might catch yourself responding in familiar patterns only to feel detached from these reactions, as if they're echoes from a previous version of yourself. This isn't confusion clouding your mind. This is the gentle transition. The protective persona that's been steering your journey finally acknowledges its completed mission. Its departure won't be marked by dramatics or flames. Instead, it slips away silently. No fanfare, no mourning, just the subtle release of a latch you never knew existed, finally giving way. Initially, this newfound vacancy might feel unsettling. The silence it leaves behind might seem too vast to navigate. You might attempt to summon it back, trying to recreate those familiar emotional patterns, seeking comfort in that known identity, but it remains unresponsive because it's no longer yours to claim. This isn't about discarding a facade. It's about being liberated from one. This isn't destruction. This is purification. You're not losing your essence. You're creating space for your authentic self that's been patiently waiting beneath the surface, anticipating this precise moment. When tomorrow night arrives, you'll sense it in every breath, in your core, in how your shoulders naturally relax, as if finally permitted to release a burden they were never meant to carry. The world will appear unchanged, yet you'll navigate it with a self-awareness that feels both ancient and new, one that exists without seeking validation. This isn't erasing your past self. It's simply choosing to stop dragging that version into your future. For the first time, your physical form feels like your true dwelling. There's a pivotal moment in spiritual evolution that rarely gets discussed. It's when mind, energy, and body finally achieve perfect alignment. This transformation doesn't arrive with spectacular displays or celebrations. It doesn't feel like repair work completed. Instead, it feels like finally claiming ownership of yourself, perhaps for the very first time. Until now, you've likely existed slightly removed from your physical self, just enough to survive, to manage, to function, but never fully present. Even in your brightest moments, a layer of self-awareness has separated you from complete presence. That perpetual state of self-monitoring, adjusting, correcting, retreating from your natural way of moving, speaking, or occupying space. Over time, this disconnection becomes so normalized, you forget it's not the natural state. But what happens when internal conflicts finally cease? What happens when you stop treating your body like temporary accommodation you're hesitant to settle into? On Thursday, that question transforms from theoretical to real. The performance ends. The rehearsal of existence stops. A profound settling occurs, not as a surge of self-assurance, but as a gentle pact between your corporeal form and inner essence. The relentless pursuit of self-improvement loosens its hold. In its wake emerges tranquility, a delicate realignment of your center. Your movements no longer stem from defensiveness or reactivity. You simply exist. No strain required. No need to validate your worth. It just is. Your gait transforms naturally, not from a desire to impress, but because your physical self finally trusts enough to surrender. When you glimpse your reflection, criticism gives way to recognition. The familiar form you've known for years appears refreshingly different, as if it's finally synchronized with your evolved identity. This doesn't demand complete adoration of every aspect of your reflection. It merely asks you to cease viewing yourself as an endless work in progress. That perpetual cycle of revision, modification, concealment gradually dissolves, not through force, but because there's nothing left requiring protection. This revelation doesn't need proclamation. It doesn't require social media captions or daily affirmations. The sanctity of this moment lies in its quietude, its deeply personal nature. You recognize the transformation not through external validation, but through your newfound independence from it. The acceptance you've been seeking externally has always resided within. This Thursday doesn't present you with a new physical form. Instead, it returns your existing body, stripped of shame, tension, and the silence that once enveloped it. Once you experience this, even momentarily, nothing else truly feels like home because you've discovered your authentic dwelling place. And this time, there's no departure. Truth resonates through your body, and deception loses its grip. Society conditions us to process everything through mental analysis first, to dissect, evaluate, demand evidence, seek logic. Yet when it comes to truth, the mind often lags behind. The intellect can justify anything, potentially leading you toward harm or away from liberation. But your body maintains unwavering honesty. This Thursday awakens something within that makes truth undeniable. Mental processing becomes secondary. You'll feel it viscerally. When something's amiss, your body signals before your mind constructs rationalizations. When something's authentic, you'll experience it as security, as a gentle forward momentum, as a deep breath that finally finds its ground. This instinct, which you've been conditioned to suppress, becomes your newly honed instrument this week. It might strike you during a familiar exchange, one you've navigated countless times before, when suddenly the interaction feels different. The dialogue becomes empty, as if you've awakened mid-performance and decided to abandon the act. What once passed for courtesy now feels artificial. What previously sparked excitement now seems superficial. You'll find yourself unable to maintain the pretense of ignorance any longer. The internal signal grows too powerful to ignore. You may discover yourself withdrawing from situations that defy explanation. Circumstances that appear perfect in theory, but no longer resonate within. You won't feel compelled to justify these shifts to others, nor will you need to. This isn't about validating your perceptions. It's about honoring them. And you'll experience a certainty, one that transcends both fear and rational thought, that your nervous system has become your most reliable compass. This is embodiment crystallizing into clarity. You cease using your mind to detect danger and begin attuning to the raw sensations beneath your thoughts. You honor the part of you that senses what lies beneath the surface of words. You move in accordance with that instantaneous knowing that emerges before your conditioning attempts to suppress it. And when something rings false, when someone's actions feel performative, manipulative, or sugar-coated, you won't need to confront it. You'll simply feel it in your core and withdraw, as there's no longer space within you to process anything that doesn't vibrate with authenticity. Yet this transformation also unveils beauty, because when something resonates as genuine, you'll feel its distinct impact. Someone's authentic presence will feel healing. Someone's truthful words will reverberate in your heart like pure sound. Moments will expand, and you'll inhabit them fully without analysis. Nothing requires management or interpretation, because your body has already made its choice, and it proves infallible. Thursday amplifies this signal permanently. It marks the transition where your internal guidance system no longer requires validation from your rational mind. The moment when your responses, your limits, your choices begin flowing from the part of you that knows before understanding dawns. Once this activates, manipulation loses its power. Chaos can't disorient you. Spiritual rhetoric can't mislead you. You no longer need external proof of someone's authenticity. You can sense its presence or absence. You've invested time in environments where you had to convince yourself to remain. But now you'll sense when it's time to depart before your mind begins questioning why. And that's when you'll realize this transcends intuition. This is instinct reconstructed through truth. And it won't merely ensure your survival. It's your path to flourishing. You won't recognize you've crossed the threshold of transformation until it's already complete. Some transformations arrive with thunderous declarations. This one doesn't. It materializes silently during an unremarkable moment, masquerading as insignificance. Yet suddenly everything feels slightly misaligned, like a familiar rhythm that's lost its beat. The shift isn't immediately apparent. Initially, it manifests as weariness with maintaining appearances. The narrative loses its grip. The internal voice that once justified your former existence begins to falter. Then, without ceremony, you simply release. This is how authentic transformation manifests. Not through conscious choice, but through gentle dissolution. The framework of your previous identity can no longer sustain itself. Not because it was inherently flawed, but because your essence refuses to conform to its constraints. And without that willing participation, everything once deemed essential begins to dissolve. By the time awareness dawns, you've already crossed the threshold. Not forcefully, not irreversibly, just naturally progressed beyond it. There's nothing dramatic to revisit. It simply no longer resonates within your being. The cycle has completed. The illusion has dissipated. And what once seemed vital now feels like a distant memory. That's the significance of Thursday. Not in explosive revelations, but in their absence. No resistance, no conflict, just a subtle internal shift that irreversibly alters your trajectory. This is what makes it enduring. It doesn't demand recognition. It simply unfolds. And once it does, you can't ignore the profound peace that replaces the chaos you once thought essential. If you've stayed until now, I want to express my gratitude for your attention. If this resonated with you, and you'd like to explore more insights, please consider subscribing. Your support means everything. Feel welcome to share your personal experiences or reflections in the comments section below. Until we meet again, stay well and subscribe for more transformative content.